again. Well good, fellas. Rafa, first of all, what's the team news going into tomorrow's game?
We have obviously Leyen injured the other day, Longstaff is also injured, and the rest of the players available, everyone is available.
How important is it? I know last week we sat here and talked about the possibility of beating Crystal Palace and moving to 38 points. That didn't happen, so 5 games to go. How important is it that you do get a result of some sort?
Yeah, I have confidence that we could do it, and I think that we did enough to get at least 1 point, but even 3 points, but it didn't happen. So as you say, now we have 5 games, we have to just think about every single game like the final, like we said so many times, and we have confidence that we can get 3 points in any game. So Leicester City will be the first one, we'll try to do it, and we have to be ready, and hopefully I will not be right when I say that maybe Fulham, the last game of the season, will be crucial. Hopefully before this game everything will be fine, we will be safe, but we have to just approach every game with confidence, calm, and at the same time this belief that we can do it, because we are doing well. We are quite solid, but we are missing this final pass like the majority of the teams, or this mistake in defence that is costing us points.
Of course, lately Leicester City have been doing quite well since Brendan Rodgers became manager down there. How much, if at all, have you noticed that they've changed under Brendan Rodgers?
To be fair, I think it's a good team, and it was a good team before. Now they have won some games in a row and they have more confidence, but they have very good young English players, or even young English foreign players. They have experience with Vardy, Morgan, so I think the team is a very good team, and now they are playing with more confidence, and it will be tough for us for sure.
And away from Newcastle, obviously there's increased interest in both ends of the table, and with Liverpool and Manchester City going closer at the top. Your experience with Liverpool, do you pay much interest into that?
Yeah, no, I like to watch as many games as I can, and obviously here to see teams as good as Liverpool or Manchester City fighting for the title is always something that you like to see, and we're watching Champions League games, but then you see the Premier League and interesting games every week. So I think it's an interesting race with very good teams, two very good teams. But my concern is what happened at the other end. So we have to concentrate now and be sure that we are focused on that.
And to that end, are you able to give us any more news on your contract discussions here?
Yes, exactly the same situation that we had before. So we are waiting, and the main thing, and for the rest of the media, if they ask me about that, I will just talk about the game and the thing that we can manage at this moment, that is try to get 3 points.
Is it fair to surmise then that you haven't heard back from the club since we spoke this week? Thank you.
Rafi, you've seen some frustrating results this season. Wolves away, Brighton at home spring to mind. How frustrated were you after Saturday in terms of the opportunity that was there and that wasn't taken?
Yeah, I was quite disappointed, because what I said before, I think we create enough, we had enough chances to win the game, and we lost in a way that you never want to lose in any way, but especially this one, when we were talking about this challenge against Zaha, the penalties that could happen, and we have seen a lot of them. After that, my frustration was that we were not doing what we have to do, so you have to manage a situation under pressure that in another way, and we didn't do it. So that was the key point for me, and because it was an important game that we could be safe, and more disappointed. But yeah, you have a bad day, and after that you have to be sure that you're ready for the next one.
Not just the result, obviously, but Florian Lejeune's injury too that you referenced before. We were just talking to Jose Perez, and he said he's come back from Barcelona now. He is positive about his recovery. How is he doing? How are the players around him after obviously such a big blow?
I was in contact with him these days, and I saw him today here. So the point now is to decide, like the last time that he was injured is where he will have the operation, and normally he will go to Rome, and he did really well, because in 4 months he was fine, when normally it's 6 months, 7 months. It depends on the surgery and the rehabilitation. But it was in 4 months. We were keeping him quiet for 1 month, and it was really unlucky that the other knee has had the same injury. So now it's just have a good operation and start quickly the rehabilitation. And
Obviously, it's an area of the team that's quite well stocked in terms of the squad, but how big a blow is it to lose someone like Florian, especially with the way he's been playing of late and playing himself back into form after coming back from the injury?
Yeah, I think it's true that when he was not playing, we were not doing really well. Then he came back, and then we started having some good results. Not because him, it's because the people also around him. But he's someone that is comfortable on the ball. And now we have to manage again, and hopefully the other players, they can do well. So I think we can change. We can play with 4 if we need one less centre back. So we can manage with 5. So we have enough bodies and enough quality to manage. But always to lose an important player is not good news for us.
We referenced the frustration after Saturday. What has been the reaction of the players to that one in the lead up to this game against Leicester tomorrow night?
It's always, I have to say the same about this group of players. They train really well, they work really hard. So I think it's a group of players that they care, and we have had this conversation during the week that we know that we are close and we have to keep pushing and don't play with any overconfidence, no complacency. So we just try to do what we did for so many months to be sure that the last 2 are fine.
We know the mantra, of course, and we know the situation, the scenario that one more win should guarantee safety in the Premier League this season. How eager are you to get that out of the way, not simply to guarantee safety, but so things can move forward in other areas as well?
Yeah, the main thing, I said before that 38 points could be enough. Now, maybe not, but hopefully yes. Then for us, what can we do? Is just try to get 3 points in this game. And then the rest of the things in football, sometimes depending on results during the weekend. So we have to do our job on Friday, win the game if we can. And then just we will try to go as high as we can. But it's just one game at a time.
Just talking Leicester City, you know, Brendan Rodgers obviously coming from Celtic into Leicester, and like Richard's just said before, they've had some superb form of late, won each of the last 4. Are you surprised to see the immediate impact that he's had at Leicester after the trouble that they were having?
I would say again that I think it was a good team, that they were doing well, and then you change the manager, you bring a manager that he knows the league, he knows the players, and the players, they were playing with more confidence, they were winning. So I think it's always when you win, the next game is easier because you have more confidence. Then if you win 2 or 3 in a row, it's even easier. So I think they are doing well, and what I said before, it will be a tough game for us.
Just a final one from me, with in terms of the team news, but are you tempted to make any changes in terms of the formation, or are you willing to stick with 3 at the back or 5 at the back even?
I will try to understand the word or the English verb tempted. Yes, I am tempted, so we will decide later on, but I'm thinking about that. I am considering everything, because maybe you have to go with 4 in the back, maybe you have to stay with 5, but it depends. It's not. I can see yesterday when people were talking about Manchester United against Barcelona, about the shape of the team. It's not the shape, it's what you do, what you can do. If you can play with 5 in the back, that could be 3, or you can play with 4, and then you don't move the players. So then I think it depends on what they do, not just the formation.
Thanks, Rafa.
Cheers.
Rafa, we know what Leicester achieved a few seasons back by winning the Premier League, but now most people probably see them as potentially a top 8 side. How far behind a side like Leicester do you think you are at the moment, and what would it take to sort of bridge that gap?
Yeah, we don't like to talk too much about that, because we have to stay in the Premier League winning games, so that is the priority, and that is the game that we have now. Do they have a good team? Yes. Do they have very good players, very good young players? Yes. If you talk about the price of these players, they pay, I think, 20 whatever millions for Maddison, for example. So then you have Gray, Maddison, or this NDD, even NDD, that they pay a big money for him in the past. So they have very good players. They have experience, English players with experience playing for the national team. So I think it's a great team. For us, it's just concentrate on to stay up and try to build from that.
And you both like to play counter-attacking football. It could be quite an interesting contest in that respect.
Yeah, I think it's quite different, because they have a team that they are comfortable in possession. They were good in possession before, and they have improved a little bit on that. And we have to defend well, to play good counter-attack. And sometimes when we can, especially at home, then when we can keep the ball and we can pass the ball, we can attack through the possession. But normally we are more a counter-attack team, and they are. I think that they can do both things because the kind of players that they have.
You made it clear that we're sort of no further forward regarding your contract, but in terms of planning for next season, presumably that has to happen because you can't suddenly get to the end of the season, whoever's the manager, and then think, oh, we need to start buying players.
Yeah, but imagine that any team, not this year, but any team that until the end of the season you don't know what is going on, if you will stay in the Premier League or in the Championship. So when I came here, it was quite difficult. So then the priority now is to be sure that we are focused on that. At the same time, and I was talking with the club, but you didn't need to know. We were just concentrating on games. Press conference, we were talking about that, but we were trying to do what we have to do. Now we don't have more news, just concentrate on that. It's the only thing that we can do. But
then once you are safe, hopefully that will be soon, the template of buying young players with a sell-on value versus, you know, experienced players like a Salomon Rondon, that then that sort of debate has to be happening early.
Yeah, the debate is quite simple. We have to buy good players. When I signed for Napoli, they will play today against Arsenal in the Europa League. And the president, Aurelio De Laurentiis, has a vision. He wanted to improve. He wanted to go to Europe and then be there every year. So we signed Reina, Higuaín, Albiol, Mertens, Callejon, with the money from Cavani. Selling Cavani, I was around 60 million, and with all this money, we spent around 60 million. And the year after, we signed Gulan or Koulibaly or Jorginho. Just selling Higuaín and Jorginho, the club take 140 million back. So it was a massive profit. And still, they have Koulibaly, all these players that you know the prices of these players. And they have guarantee in the last 4 years to be in Europe, in the Champions League or the Europa League. So that means when you have the potential and you can do that, and you can see the potential here, is what we are looking for.
Big transfer kitty.
Sorry?
Transfer kitty.
Yeah, you have to manage what you have and then try to compete at the level that you can compete. Okay, thank you. Cheers, thank you. Cheers.
That's quite nice.
Yes.
Yeah.